My goodness.
All right. Meanwhile, let's tell you about this. If you were watching the Fox News channel yesterday, you saw gripping testimony from people. Everyday people involved in patriotic organizations. They simply did the audacious thing of asking the IRS for 501c4 status, which they are legally entitled to, and the IRS dragged them through the mud to hell and back. Listen to these people.
I'm a born-free American woman, wife, mother, and citizen, and I'm telling my government that you've forgotten your place. I'm not interested in scoring political points. I want to protect and preserve the America that I grew up in, the America that people cross oceans and risk their lives to become a part of. And I'm terrified it is slipping away. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Somebody else who did speak before the...
Acting Commissioner Steve Miller summed up the IRS's action as horrible customer service. Would you call that horrible customer service, or would you call that something else?
I would call it a felony, as the federal law calls this a felony, and I would prosecute those people responsible.
Boy, the American people are being led to believe you guys are big muscles of political strength. Could you tell us roughly what your annual budget is?
Our annual budget is in the negative.
Uh-oh. Are you a Democratic organization?
There you had Aaron Schock, a Republican congressman from Illinois, and he brought up a good point at one time. It's like, okay, under the way the laws are written, you've got to be a majority social program to qualify for this. But then he pointed out, you know what organization is trying to qualify for 501c4 status? Organizing for America, right. Extraordinarily enough. Do you think they've got a political agenda? Remember, once upon a time, it was Obama for America, but now it has morphed into this to push the president's agenda. So is that political? You betcha. Do you think the IRS is going to grant it to him? Probably.
Kevin Kukaji says in his case, he was on with us right before he testified yesterday, and his is a leadership committee where he teaches conservative values to young teens, high schools. He said they were pressuring me to give up my list. He says, I'm not going to give up the list of 18-year-olds who happen to sign up for my course, for my 501c4. And then he watched as people who pledged to donate to him watch these grants evaporate, because when he couldn't get okayed, they have nowhere to give the money. So if you can't get that $30,000, how are you supposed to get $100,000 because you can't get okayed? So the $30,000 disappears, the momentum's gone, and his organization's flat. 28 minimum have just decided it is not worth it, I quit.
And we questioned, you know, why was the Tea Party losing its steam in 2010? Well, when you don't have 500 organizations that are able to form, it could be part of it. And also, I think this intimidation is far-reaching and the impacts are not yet over, because I've talked to some people who want to give money to the Tea Party, but they don't want their name associated with it because they're nervous that the IRS will still target them now. But you know what? It could be all just their fault for having those political beliefs. Here's one congressman who believes that.
Let's stop this charade of pretending that these are social welfare organizations and admit that they are political, treat them as such, and play by the same rules that everybody on the committee plays for when we're involved in politics.
It's your kind of statements that have empowered IRS agents to make determinations about which organizations qualify for the public good and which do not. The notion that defending traditional marriage doesn't qualify as a defense of the public good is beyond preposterous.
Exactly right, John Eastman. Since when is talking about marriage not something social? Marriage political? Maybe to some. Is it social? To most, and so that's why they applied for that status. And then, of course, famously, his donor list somehow got out. Next thing you know, the people who had donated were intimidated and humiliated.
All right, FoxNews.com is